And hi, how are you? We're here live coming to you from across the country. We are Wholesale Hotties here talking to you about real estate. I'm Sharon-Lee Smith. I'm going to be an MC for the evening. We also have Donda Molinex. We have Kate Gomes. We have Angie. I cannot say your last name, Milanazzo. And we Sorry, and we have Monique Bell. And we are so excited to join you today. I'm going to go ahead and have the ladies introduce themselves all the way around. So, Donda, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? Who are you? Where are you? What do you do? Those type of things.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Sharon. Well, I'm Donna Molinix, and I am currently living in the Phoenix, Arizona area from the Northwest with my husband, Jim. We have a granddaughter and a daughter living with us. We love to do fix and flips. In fact, we're just getting ready to list one in Scottsdale this weekend. And we enjoy working with people, helping people, hence my name, Help Me Donda, on my YouTube channel and Instagram. So, yeah, we love helping people, and that's kind of what this is all about. And so that's part of the reason why we're created this YouTube page as well and channels. So pretty simple.
And that's awesome.
Thank you so much thanks, Sharon, for asking.
So, Kate, what do you do?
I'll go next. Oh.
What do I do? So, I'm just getting really back to work this year. I was a realtor for about 7 years in Northern California, and then I became an empty nester, and so now I'm wild and free, and decided to move over to Florida. And so I'm here right now getting my furnished rental ready, and then I think I'm going to go possibly live in my van for a little while. Go pick it up in California and drive back to Sarasota so that I can do fix and flips with Heather Dimmick, who we should have on here sometime.
Absolutely. Oh my God, we got to talk about the van later.
Yeah, we'll do that later. But I'm also getting into wholesaling and buying bigger properties like apartments or RV parks, trailer parks.
Awesome.
Love it.
Angie, what about you?
Well, hello everyone. My name is Angie Milanazzo, and I live here in Denver, Colorado. I have been doing real estate since '06. I'm also a broker here in Colorado. I own a brokerage called What's Next Realty. And then I also own a wholesale company. And as you see, it's Reps Real Estate Problem Solvers. So we solve problems and we help.
Nice.
Part of Sub 2, a mastermind student. We are part of Owners Club. These ladies here are all Owners Club, and that's why we are doing this YouTube, is to help other women in real estate. So I've got a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and I just want to share my knowledge and help people.
I love it. Monique, tell us about yourself. Where are you at? Where are you from? What are you doing?
So I am actually from Seattle, Washington, and I am a water damage expert. And what that means is that I specialize in taking care of properties with water damage. So if you have like a water leak in your home, a toilet overflows, a hot water tank explodes, you can call my company, Premier Emergency Water Removal, and my team of experts will come to your property. We suck the water out, and then we dry out the property, and we put it back to the way it was before the water damage. So I run that business on a daily. And then I also, my brother is my business partner, and we flip properties, we develop properties, we have a clean and sober property, and involved in the Owners Club with these ladies here and working to, help other people that would like to be involved in real estate investing and lending, and see how we can help other women in particular who might be struggling in sometimes male-dominated field, whether it be water damage or real estate.
Monique, what state are you in where you do the water damage control?
Washington State, so Seattle, Washington area, right outside of Seattle.
Yeah, lots of rain there.
Lots of rain, but it's not always about rain. It's more about your toilet overflowed or your dishwasher leaked or your washing machine or something. Your roof got a hole in it.
Slow toilet leak.
Yes, that will get you really good, especially
a broken hose in the backyard that leaks into your house.
Yep, you French drain. I had one lady who.
You're speaking from experience on those.
Yeah.
I had a lady
sounded exactly like that.
She didn't know, and her whole wall fell down before she figured out what was going on. And it was just hitting the back of her water tank and just hitting her wall like a little pinhole. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what happened to me. I was like, what is that? It looked like a bubble. And I went,
yep. Everything falls.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
And Sharon, what do you do?
So my name is Sharon-Lee Smith. I am a real estate investor and I am a mentor to new wholesalers. My primary business model right now is wholesaling. I do have my own personal investments. So I've got a couple co-living properties, but my passion is wholesaling. That's what I love to do. I love sales in general. And just so we're clear, wholesale is a sales job. It's not really real estate investing, but it is a great step in the door to real estate investment. A lot of people think that it is an investment thing, and it kind of is in a way, but it's a sales job all day long. And if you don't like sales, you should not be in wholesaling. Like it is, I just love it. And I just love talking to people and solving problems, really. So anyway, what do? I mentor new wholesalers in the acquisition side of things. So teaching them how to connect with property owners that maybe want to sell their houses or land, or even I've done a couple where there's restaurants or different commercial properties involved. And then, I teach them, how to have those conversations. I teach them paperwork. I help them lock up those deals. And then I sell their deals. And so that's my favorite part of my job, really, is I network with buyers. I get to know them personally. I get to figure out what they need and want. And then I can send my acquisition team out to get those things for them. It's a fantastic thing. I love talking to buyers. It is a great to be able to have a conversation on a high level with other people that understand and know the business really well. So my background, I went to college the first time around for accounting and business management. And then 10 years later, I went back to college the second time around and studied applied mathematics. So I'm a bit of a numbers geek, hence my business name, which is Number Crunchers. But right out of college, the first time I went into a restaurant design build company in their cost estimating department and worked hand in hand with with the engineering on one side and the project management on the other side, putting together the quotes and that type of thing, and then just with fulfillment to bring the project to fruition, which was my first real start in real estate. Working on commercial projects and that type of thing. And then I was there for 5-6 years. From there, I transitioned into working for other contractors. I have worked for custom luxury home builders. I've worked for electricians and plumbers and HVAC. And so I've run the whole gamut. And I've mainly been in cost estimating, but then transitioned into project management later on. About 3 years ago, I said, I'm going to do this all on my own. And so I transitioned into just real estate, investing, that type of thing. I have flipped houses since 2007. I was up in New Hampshire at that time. And we actually worked together with a private money guy. And we kind of did a BRRRR strategy in a way. So he would buy the property. Me and my partner at the time would move in. We would kind of live in flip while we did it. And then he would sell, we'd move to the next one. So we kind of got free housing, but we also got paid for our work, and we also got the experience of doing the work ourselves, which is what I'm doing right now, hence the half done wall behind me. The house I'm in right now is one of my, it will be a co-living house in the next couple months. It's a work in progress though. So anyway, that's a bit about me, what I do, and who I am. So
And
You have
Sharon,
quite
can
the
you
resume.
explain what you just said about the BRRRR strategy? Somebody who might not know what that means.
Buy, renovate, rent, refi, and then do it all night and repeat. Right. And so the gentleman would buy, we would renovate. He would either rent it out or resell, but rent it out generally, and then we would repeat it. So he would refinance to get his money back out and then use that to buy the next property. So that's what the BRRRR strategy is. So, ladies, why are we doing this? What are we doing? Donna, why don't you tell me, why did you want to join you? This is your bright idea. It's all of ours, but it's your bright idea. We're in the chat the other day, and you're like, lady? And I'm like, yes, this is what I want. Tell us why. What was your inspiring factor?
The big why is just, yeah, right. The why for me was, I know and could see a lot of us in our meetings we've been getting together and Zooms and stuff, and there was a lot of women struggling with different things in real estate. And even the ones in our owners club were having like, I can't get to that next level. I'm stuck here. I'm having issues with contractors. I'm having just different issues. And it's like, I see a lot of like the Wholesale hotline, and I see a lot of other guys that are doing it, but I don't see a lot of women that have come together like the five of us have, that have so much to give out there, that I think that we can really help people with their struggles and realize that real estate it's not for the weak by any means. It's something like a lot of people see it looks so fun on TV and stuff, but the truth of it is it isn't. It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of dedication and getting educated, and people who think they're going to get in and start doing this and just like everything, and then they quit because they didn't do it properly. They didn't know what they didn't know. And just
That's right. You don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah, right. And so some people just need to like get in here and get real with real estate. Us ladies are talking real. We have good things that happen, but we have bad things that happen. And being honest about it and sharing those experiences that might save somebody else from making a bad mistake, or just, making them think about through the process, not trying to scare them off, but it's not for everybody, even though it sounds like fun. If you can get on here and really listen to the things that we do and struggle. But hey, I would love to have them as young as possible and older than myself in here, and because there's not an age limit to investing in real estate. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but I just felt like there was a need to help one another and lift one another and gain knowledge from one another, because business owners in here and real estate agents in here and wholesaler in here, none of my forte. I also do long-term and short-term rentals, but I've tried doing a little bit of wholesaling. It's not my thing, and I found that out. But it's just everybody has to figure out where they fit in this game. So yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
It was a great idea, Donda. I'm so glad that you got out there and got this all together.
well, thank you. I couldn't have done it without you guys, gals.
What about you, Miss Kate?
Miss Kate. I'm still getting used to being called ma'am out here in Florida. That doesn't happen so much in California. But I joined. I missed it when Donda first put it out there, so I only learned about it when we were in Boston a few days ago, and I was so excited to do it because since I moved to Florida, I don't have a real estate community, like a sub 2 community here where I am. there is in Florida, but I'm in Melbourne, and there's very few people around here. So I've been finding myself just working in my house alone on a computer, and it gets really, really boring. And
Oh my gosh. I'm lonely. I'm lonely.
yeah, a little lonely, a little boring, not so inspiring. So I think I've really learned by being part of this owners club how helpful it is to be part of a community, and especially a community of badass women. It's so inspiring to hear everything you guys are doing, and like Donda was saying, it's helping me, and I know it can help other people by us doing this and bringing on other people to tell their stories and learn from. So yeah,
I love it.
It'll be fun.
Yeah,
everybody.
That's exactly why I joined. Why I wanted to join. It's like, okay, well, I want to show ladies that you can do this too. But
They
I mean, there's a
can.
lot of ladies, in this.
Even
in
when
this
they're 20
business.
years old, they can do it. They don't have to wait
Yeah.
till they're empty nesters like me.
Right. Yep.
What about you, Monique?
Well, I think it's very similar to the rest. I've been involved in a very male-dominated field in the water restoration and even in real estate, and I see that women just aren't stepping into the industry that much, as much. And I really like to be able to help more women. Women are born collaborators. We're used to helping each other. We nurture each other. We want to help each other and be a part of that rather than a dog eat dog.
Yes.
And these women, sometimes we all feel so alone, and to be able to come and say, you're not alone, let's all work together, putting this together with Donda and you and Kate and Angie, and being able to let people know, hey, we do have things that come in our life, children and grandchildren and households that we have to still run and things like that, but yet we get to do it kind of in a way together because we're collaborating and we're talking, and I have this situation, what would you do, what can I do to help you, and building that community to help each other strengthens what you're doing and what I'm doing and what other people are doing, and builds up women in general. So that's kind of where I'm at with this particular group here.
I love it.
What about you?
I love that.
Donda.
And Sharon.
Well,
what about you, Sharon?
We'll get there. And I was going to say, Angie, Dawn, you and Dawn both are really out in this space, correct? Like I see content, I see him and you both together at a lot of events. So I'd love to know the why for you, wise. Like how's working with your partner? I would lose your mind. Go for it.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said, Angie
and I are the only two married ones in here, so.
I lose my mind. Go ahead, you tell us. How's it working with your man?
Well, so I don't know if you guys know our story, but
No.
we were married for 14 years, divorced. We're separate or divorced for like a year. And then we, of course, because we got 3 kids, we started talking again. And then we got back together a year later. And so when we got back together, Dominic, he decided, I'm going to get out of the telecommunications business, and I'm going to get my license. And I was like, okay, which was very scary because if you don't sell, you don't make money.
Yeah.
So we did lots of counseling, lots of couples counseling, one-on-one counseling. And it was hard, but we've learned how to work with each other, get along. We're like this. We're one.
You are.
And we almost had to break up to be where we're at today.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it's just made us really strong. And we need our breaks sometimes, but
absolutely.
I mean, we actually get along very well. I mean, and you just have to take time every day to work on the business, the relationship, your children. It's a lot of work, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I actually really like that. I listen a lot to podcast Dr. John Deloney, and one of the things that he talks about with especially longer term marriages, but marriages that go through change and whatnot is like at different intervals of your relationship, you just have to come to a point where you're just like, okay, what we had is over. Let's start new and build the next phase. And like he talks about, him and his wife have done that like 4 or 5 times in the course of their, very long, whatever, 30 some odd year relationship. But, really, like, I think in general in life, we all have seasons. And if we don't acknowledge that that person we're with has a season as well, and now everything's different, and we need to see the differences between us and then reconnect in a whole new way. I think that relationships don't survive. And I'm a testament to that, 4 times divorced. So, yeah, like if the other person isn't able to make those changes as well, and don't get me wrong, I can't blame all of them. I've come a long way personally in the last 3 years that you wouldn't know me from before to now. But I think that's so important. I think that's such a beautiful story, Angie. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my why. So why am I here? First and foremost, I love teaching people. I love telling people what I do. I love speaking to people. And so my why in that is to bring people along, bring people up. A lot of times people get into wholesaling because they're trying to make that quick cash or the big chunks of cash in order to step into a new thing in their life. And many times it's because they're stepping out of a not great spot. And so a little bit about my background and my story. I'm actually a domestic violence survivor, a 4-time domestic violence survivor. In fact, one of them was so severe that the United States federal government domestic violence protection program transported me and my boys 14 states away to get away. And so it's pretty powerful to me, the transformative change of real estate investing and the powerful way that, a whole new thing, right? A whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of earning money, a whole new way of living, and what that can do for you. And so my passion is other people like me that maybe are struggling. It might not be domestic violence, but they're just struggling, and they've got a hard life happening, but they see a way out, and they're not lazy about it. They want out, and they just need to know how, and they just need to figure out the path. And so for me, like, I want to get that type of message that you can get out. There is a better life, and there is so many ways to make that happen to as many people as I possibly can. And so that's my why. And so I've been looking for probably 6 months for ladies to do something just like this with. And when Donda was in the chat the other day, she's like, "Do you really want to do a podcast?" I'm like, immediately text her. I'm like, "Donda, yes, that's me. Let's do it." So I was very excited to put this all together. Yeah.
I think that's amazing, Sharon, where you are now, because from what I understand,
Right.
you are doing fantastic in your wholesaling and just becoming so successful. And it sounds like you have a pretty good resume anyways, but I didn't know that about your past relationships. I never would have guessed, because you seem just so
strong
and strong. Yeah.
Confident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a different person from what I was 3 years ago. So that's a little bit about my story too. I'm not in sub 2. I'm in Astro. And I'm in Astro for a number of different reasons, but I joined Astro because of Jamil Damji's prayer. And so if you've ever seen any of his work, he starts all of his Zooms out with a prayer. And it is just so touching and so powerful. I was at that time in yet another abusive relationship. My husband quit his job 4 days after we got married. and for 2 years stayed at home and started drinking by 9 o'clock in the morning. He didn't leave the bed and get to the bathroom before he took a bong hit, right? And drank all night long, all day long, all night long, smoked weed, all the things. Meanwhile, I worked my ass off, all these things. Anyway, it got very toxic and abusive, and I knew from my past flipping how you could make big chunks of money, right? And so I had started searching for, well, how do I get into real estate? Because I really had no idea. Like, I worked for contractors, but I'd never, and I worked for an investor that bought properties, but I'd never done it myself. So how do I get into real estate? And so I started searching, and I came across the concept of wholesaling. I had joined some other mentorship, which was not a mentorship. It was terrible. There was no real resources or real education there. And so one particular night, I was in a huge fight with my husband, and he stormed out, whatever. I'm laying in bed, and I'm crying, and I'm praying. I am praying to God, like, help me get out. How do I get out? And I'm scrolling through YouTube, trying to just learn what do I get into wholesale? How do I figure out, like, what I'm doing here? And I came across one of Jamil's YouTubes, and he started with that prayer. And as he's praying, let the steps I take be your steps, let the words I speak be your words, let the actions I take be your actions, God. God was speaking to me, saying, listen, this is the man that's going to show you the steps you need to take, the actions you need to take, the things you need to do to get to where I want you to go. And that may be getting out or whatever, but I have a plan for you. And the very next day, I called Astro and I signed up. And so and that's when I say Jamil, really, he transformed me completely. So Astro flipping sure teaches you about wholesaling, but a huge component of Astro flipping is mindset. And the mindset work is just out of this world. And so I'll say this too, about 6 weeks later, me and my husband got into another fight, and he pulled a gun on me, and he shot at me. And I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't know how to get away. I still hadn't closed the deal right. I was still in this panic mode. And the next day, Jamil's was the mindset call on Sunday, and Jamil's whole lesson was about taking action. The mindset it takes to take action. And he's speaking about real estate, but what God was saying to me is, you need to take action and get the hell out now. And that night, I waited till my husband passed and I left. Crazy, right? But that's why. That's why I say. That's why I say Jamil Damji saved my life. So I say that a lot. He saved my life.
I have 2 questions.
Uh-oh. Go.
What is questions, Kate?
Okay, so one question is, are we going to do a similar prayer in here? And my second question is, how long did it take for you to close your first deal once you signed up?
2 questions. Number 1, I would love to. In fact, I actually already talked to Jamil. I said, is your prayer copyrighted? Because I go and speak in public now. And I had asked him permission. I said, is your prayer copyrighted? He said, yes. I said, but can I use it anyway? And so he said, yes. So I would love if we could open up in that same prayer. I have it memorized. It's actually the screensaver on my desktop. It's in front of me all the time. I love it. It changed my life for sure. So I would love if we weekly could open up with that same prayer, and I would love to lead us in it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And number 2, how long did it take to get my first deal? So that story. Honestly, my second deal closed before my first deal closed, because my first deal was such a damn nightmare. So, we got that contract. Oh, this is a good story too. We got a contract in June. with a older woman, sweet Southern black woman. This lady's dad bought her this house when she first got married, and she's now like 80 something years old, right? And she's like, I just don't know what to do with it. You know, she's been by herself for many, many years. Her husband passed away like 12 years ago. The house is livable, but just in a state of disrepair, you know? She didn't know what she wanted to do. She was embarrassed to have people in. And so here we come with a solution. So first, we had to deal with other people in the family that thought that she didn't know what she was doing, basically. And so she had to deal with lawyers and other, doctors and stuff to give her basically a seal of approval, say that she's of sound mind, because the family was trying to fight her from selling her own property. And so there was that. And then we did some inspections, and there was a lot of termite damage under the house that we didn't know initially. And so we really need to go back and renegotiate. So we did that. And then we had buyers come in. We had to go under contract, and the person that said she was a buyer turned out was not, and had wholesaled it to two, like there was like two other people in this chain, and that, like, first of all, our assignment contract wasn't assignable, so that was a whole thing. And so then there was a hiccup with that end buyer, couldn't get the right funding or whatever. Okay. So we canceled that whole contract, but I'll go back to that. So then I got another buyer who was a newer investor who thought she had funding, but then when her lender came out and did some inspections and whatever, they decided they didn't want to lend on it. Okay. So then I'm like, this has to sell. This is crazy. I set up an on-site auction on the steps of this property, and I got 15, 20 people, buyers of mine, out to the property. I'm like, walk this thing, and we're going to have an auction. And so we went, and we had a bidding war, and we sold it actually higher than the other two. And then we went to close on it, and that very first leg where that wholesaler had sold it to another wholesaler who sold it to an end buyer, that middle wholesaler had put a memorandum of contract on it. And so now I'm like, but that whole thing is canceled, and the title company was like, I understand that, but until you get a release from that guy, I can't close on this. Okay. So then we go and call up that other wholesaler, and we're like, what are we going to do here? Da, da, da. And so it came down to thankfully, he was willing to actually let it go for only $5,000 payout, which is okay. We still, it was like $25,000 that we were making. So it worked out okay. Anyway, so he signed the release, and then we ended up closing on this deal. Start to finish, June 15th was the initial contract. It was October 26th when we finally closed. My second deal closed on October 12th. So my first deal closed after my second deal. Crazy. It was insanity.
How long have you started doing your wholesaling when you got your first deal, though, when you actually got it?
In your contract, so, well, I'm backtracking. When I had joined the other mentorship in December, I had gotten 4 or 5 different contracts. And at the time, I didn't realize that I knew buyers. Like, I could talk to sellers, I got contracts, but then I'm like, how do I sell this thing? I couldn't figure it out. Right? And it wasn't until, so all of those ended up getting canceled. So December, January, February, March. And then April is when I joined Astro. And once I went through some of that training, and I was, Jesus Christ, I've been in contractor world since 1996. I know Korean buyers. What am I doing? And so that's when I realized, okay, now I just start networking with people to figure that piece out while I'm locking up contracts over here. So April 14th is when I signed up for Astro, and June 13th was when we got that contract. So what's that, 2 months? 8 weeks?
Perfect.
Was
Yeah,
that about a
great.
month? You were kind of cutting out. Okay.
About 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
good.
No, that's not bad at all.
Right.
No.
It's not. It's also not typical. Right. It's not typical. And
Lessons. You had a lot of lessons in that story.
so many. Yeah. It's also not typical though. Like the reason I think I had such quick success is because I had the background that I had. Right, and so I knew the language because I'd been in flipping before. I knew the language because I'd been in contracting before. So I could talk to buyers and I could talk to people and be on their same wavelength. A lot of new people that are coming in, they're coming in completely fresh slate into a whole new industry and don't have a clue. And so it's a huge learning curve. And they get very, very frustrated and just, I find it's the 6-week mark where people are just like, this isn't working, I give up, right? But they don't realize how much learning that they have to do. And I mean, if you think about a college degree, it takes 4 years, right? So how can you expect in 6 weeks to figure all this out and close a deal? Come on now. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Any field you get into, can you realistically learn it in 6 weeks? No.
No, exactly. Exactly. One thing is they see the big gurus, and I love Brent Daniels, so I'm not really picking on him, but and they don't realize it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy.
Right.
Were you cold calling homeowners?
So
were you doing direct agent or?
Driving for dollars. So yes, cold calling. So I out and about in the area, I'd see shitty houses. I'd, look them up or whatever. And yeah, cold calling people. Or just like sphere of influence. So, if you know it, like I talk to all my friends, if you know anyone that wants to sell their house, let them know that I buy houses and, that type of thing. And so, 2 of them were sphere of influence and other ones were just cold calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Letting people know what you're doing is important. It definitely is.
100%.
Start deals by that. Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
You just got to tell people what you do.
Yep.
How long have you been doing it, Donda?
What?
How long have you been doing real estate?
I did I was single. I did a fix and flip in 2008. I bought it that summer and sold it December 8th of 2008. And people are like, did you make any money? I'm like, yeah, I did great. And I went to the bank because I wanted to get a loan because I didn't know anything about hard money lenders or private money lenders. And they're like, well, we're not giving out loans. I'm like, why not? I paid my bills. Why am I being punished? Of course, the crash that was happening at the time, but right over my head. So I took a break from it and just did my regular W-2 and then ended up helping people. I was kind of like one of my deals, I was trying to help somebody find a place to rent. And I'm like, come on, let's just go door knocking. So we went knocking on doors trying to find our place to rent. And in that process,
I love it.
I had a bar and restaurant at the time and had one of our patrons that went to her house and she's like, oh, hey, how's it going? And we told her, trying to help a friend out, to find a place to rent. And she's like, well, I'm moving out of here, so I'll give you my landlord's number and you can call her. So I'm like, great. So we walked back over to the bar and called her and ended up buying those. There was 2 houses on one lot. I ended up buying them. I just asked the gal for my friend, I'm like, are you going to be renting this out? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, are you going to be selling by chance? I haven't been buying anything or play in the real estate game, but I always wanted to, you know, and thought
I love it.
could it hurt to ask? So I asked, and she's like, actually, I am. She goes, and I want to finance them. That's how I learned about seller financing. She goes, that's my retirement plan. Is I want to sell them and have that be the bank. So then I have money coming in every month
I love
and don't
it.
pay that big capital gains. And it was like, okay, what do I do now? You know? But I ended up buying those and became my friend's landlord and still own those houses. And another one was a property that a gal she bought for her girls and they weren't getting along, and she's like, I want to sell it to you. And I'm like, really? It was a cabin. And I'm like, I would always love to have a cabin. And I ended up buying a cabin because, you know, you just talk to people and treat people good, and you just don't know what's going to come to you out of it, you know? So stopping foreclosures, done that. And that's not my forte. I would like to learn more about it, but I don't go out seeking that. Just people had like, hey, I got a friend in trouble. Can you help them out? You know? So done that too. And I know Angie. I met Angie before I got involved in this community through Pace's community. I was watching him on YouTube, following him, and he had the first elephant challenge, and I joined that. And somehow I got blessed to be in this amazing group with Angie's team, and just learned a lot from them and talking to people. And yeah, it's been great. It's been a great journey. And that was what, 2022, Angie?
Yes.
August of 2022. So yeah. So I know she's helped a ton of people. She's helped myself included. So that's how I fell in, part of the ways I fell into this community. So yeah, it's been a blessing. I've done other ones, but nothing like this. It just doesn't compare.
Yeah.
We lost Kate. Did you guys realize we lost Kate?
I did. Yeah.
Her screen went down.
Oh.
How'd you get into this community, Angie?
How did I get into sub two?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, gosh, back in 2021, my son graduated college, and he was like, "What am I going to do?" And so he would come into the office, and we're like, "Well, do you want to be a real estate agent?" And he's like, "No." And then Don went to lunch with a county commissioner, and he was telling him like, dude, I got this guy renting my house and he's renting it out. You should go check out these gurus. And so Dom went and checked him out, and he stumbled upon Pace. So he messaged Pace and said, hey, how much is your program cost? Or no, he goes, I want to get my son in your program. And Pace goes, sign up, send him the link. And Dominic goes, I don't care how much it is. I want Joey to sign up. He goes, I felt Pace. I just felt I felt the goodness in him.
Yeah, he really
and
is.
So he signed up. Joey started doing it, learning it. And then I was like, God, this just sounds, hi, Kate.
Hi.
This sounds so great. Like, I hate being an agent. I want to do this. And so me and Dom did rock, paper, scissors. And I said, if I win, I get to do the wholesale. And if you win and you lose, you got to keep doing the brokerage. And he lost.
That's awesome.
So I started doing it with Joey in 2021. And then, God, it took him a while to get us our first deal on the wholesale side.
Right.
Because, you know, there was just, we had a lot of like, what do you call it? Shiny object syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
As well. Yeah. And then the elephant challenge happened. And then that's when we just built the wholesale company.
Yeah.
Was from that challenge. And it's just been awesome ever since.
Is that what you do with most of your time then? Are you wholesaling all the time?
So I got the boys here in the office. They're in a whole nother room in their own little office, and they're doing wholesaling. They have a whole team. They train guys in the morning, like 9 in the morning for an hour and a half. And then these people send deals, they JV. We're buying and holding properties. We wrap a lot of deals. We work with the Spanish community. And so we have buyers. That we have like a buyer's list. So 10 families, they want kind of like what Pace is doing, where he's buying houses for people who can't afford to buy a house. But we just work with the Spanish community. I think we've done I think we have 25 wraps.
Nice.
Oh, wow,
That's
nice.
amazing. Yeah, that
A lot
was
of work.
a new concept to me when I joined Sub 2. You know, being a realtor in California, nobody was doing creative where I was. Houses would just sell, even if, you know, it was a hoarder's house that was falling down. You put it in the MLS and it would just sell. So this
Yeah.
wrapping is new to me, but I love it. It seems like there's tons of people doing it, and it's a pathway to ownership for people. And
Well, I'll tell you, the reason why we've been wrapping them is because when you wholesale a creative deal and then that end buyer doesn't pay,
Right.
I said, we have to stay, even if we make $100, I want to stay in it because I don't want that to happen. And we have to take
Right.
out so much just in case they don't make that payment.
Yep.
So we've learned along the way, but I'm telling you, it's so scary because we've had a deal where Joey sold it to somebody who he thought was the end buyer. Then that end buyer sold it to, it was a daisy chain, but this is a creative deal. Okay. So 3 people. So it's Joey, wholesaler, end buyer. This end buyer buys 2 or 3 from us out in Arizona. And then they stop making payments. So.
And how long did it take for you guys to find out?
A month tops, because the mortgage company called the seller and see Joey they were talking to the seller. So Joey had the relationship with the seller, but he had no idea that we thought this guy was the end buyer. But no, he daisy chained it. And then that guy daisy chained it.
So now can you put protections in your contracts that it can't be daisy chained?
I'm sure you can, but we're just wrapping them now. Or we're doing cash deals, wholesaling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, after that happened to me, that first deal, when there was a daisy chain that happened, I changed a whole clause in my assignment contract, and it very clearly says this contract may not be reassigned under, unless without express permission from, in my business name. And so, and I make the initial that paragraph specifically. And so, it's to avoid that. And Angie, I gotta tell you, that is really honorable. Like, doing a wrap versus wholesaling a sub 2. I find there's a lot of people that are not as honorable and don't care about that homeowner that's getting screwed by that 3rd, 4th, and 5th end buyer that just decides, oh, I'm not going to pay. And it's a huge problem, I find. And so I want to commend you for doing that. Not only that, girl, it gets you some passive income along the way as well. And even if it's only a little bit on each one, it adds up, right? 10 deals at 100 extra a month, now you're talking, and so it adds up quick. I love it. That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, we just did our first sub 2 deal and wrapping it too. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to it, but it's very rewarding when we collect the money from him. We haven't got that third party servicing set up yet, but we're collecting it. We're paying the mortgage. We know it's getting done. Same thing, Angie. And I've heard some stories where people do that, where they don't make the payments. They take it over, and that's really unfortunate. I don't know what their intent was and why they would do that, but
yeah,
I know. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. It's just sad.
And they put so much money down. It's like,
I know. Why would you do that?
I don't get it.
Exactly.
Are you guys making a little bit when you do that transaction? They put enough down that you get a little something, and you get the sellers get a little something.
We raised the price on it because our loan is only like 2 something, and we're selling it for $380. So we're making on the one we're doing, we're making $600 a month. Plus they're paying an interest on because they have 6 months to come up with their money to actually have the money for the wrap. But they've already given us $15,000 down, and they owe us another $50,000 that they're going to come down with. And so he's selling his rental because he wanted to move into it, and he's paying his interest only right now every month. So we're actually making more than that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. There's all just kinds of, like you said, you just get creative. There's just
Yeah.
crazy what things you can come up with and stuff. So
So with
Yeah.
those,
Oh,
does
yeah.
the title go in your name or the end buyer's name?
So I
Go
hold
ahead,
the
Angie,
I
we'll
hold
do
the
it.
note. I hold the note, and they hold the deed. The end buyer does,
The deed.
but I hold the actual note.
The note.
So I do an agreement. It just depends on what state, but I do the agreement for sale, like a contract for deed.
Yeah.
So they won't. I'm sorry, it stays in my name because I hold the deed. I hold the deed, but I'm like the lender, right? And then once they pay it off, then it goes into their name.
In their name. So
So
do
you get
you?
the tax benefits on this
Yeah.
right now too then?
Yes,
With your name
I
on the
actually
deed?
do. Yes, I
Right?
actually
Yeah.
do. For contract for deeds, yeah.
Yeah.
Agreement for sale. Land. I think in Florida it's a land.
Land contract?
Yeah, land contract.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but they are like I worked on one all day today, trying to figure out this mortgage. It's been a pain in the booty.
Yeah. Getting insurance switched over and just making sure your TCs are very knowledgeable in this is a big thing. You really want to not get a beginner TC. I don't feel, I think you need to really have somebody. And then now we have creative title, which we didn't at the time. So we had to do self-perform because it was a FHA loan.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yep.
I'd like to do some deals with creative title since that's
Yeah.
our company now. And
Yeah.
creative title and escrow, if you guys are interested in doing some creative deals and you need a good escrow company, title and escrow.
Has anybody done one with them yet?
I haven't. Like I said, I reached out to them and pasted, check with Molly. Molly's like, we're not quite ready. So the deal we bought at the end of July. It wasn't ready, but they are now here in Arizona. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not ready in Colorado yet, but they're gonna be soon.
Yeah.
Do the sellers know that you're wrapping it to somebody else? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that we promised to make the payments to them, that their payments will be made. And they still can get in the portal and they can still find out that that's happening. But ours has been Hispanic families, same thing. Business owners, Hispanic families.
Yeah.
So how do you find those end buyers?
Can't get. I found mine because my partner is from the community. He's grown up around here, and he's my GC also, and he's Hispanic. So
Beautiful.
It was one of his actually guys that doing our landscape work that's like, I'll buy that house. So yeah.
Nice.
So it was just that community. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So just having ties in the Hispanic community. Where did you find them, Angie? Same type of a thing?
Agents, and then meetups. We have meetups, for sub two.
Yeah.
And this guy came in, and he's really big in the Spanish community. So we kind of partnered with him, and he just has a whole buyers list. We created a form that they fill out. We'll have like little meetups with the Spanish families, and he'll speak in Spanish, and we'll kind of speak in English, and then he explains it to them.
That's so awesome,
And
Angie.
then have open houses, like they'll go through and go through the open house, like different families will. Yeah.
Brilliant. Great idea.
That's awesome. Hey, Monique, why don't you tell how did you get into Sub 2? What brought you? Where did you join? What's your story getting in? You're all quiet over there. I'm going to pick on you.
She is quiet.
So I joined about in 2023, April 2023. I actually had already been investing on the sub 2 level since 2002. So almost every property I had invested in was already sub 2. And I had some situations in my life through the years that have, I kind of took a hiatus from real estate investing. I had a family member that passed away, and somebody that was close to me that he kind of tanked in life and was my partner, and I just ended up running the business by myself and that sort of thing. And so I kind of wanted to refresh, what I was doing versus what was going on currently. And so I was watching Pace for a while, and I really felt like he was like genuine. I have been involved in other communities that didn't pan out to what they ended. You can spend so much money learning and so much money in real estate investing and knowing how to do it and education, and you just kind of just don't go anywhere with it or where you think you want to go with it. But Paige just seems so genuine, and I decided I was going to take a chance in this community, and it has by far been one of the best communities I can even imagine joining or being a part of, not just because of what I've been able to educate myself on, because a lot of the stuff I already knew, but it's refreshing. But the way that the people in this community interact with each other is so also genuine. I'm not saying that everybody's perfect, because you have your glitches and stuff, but for the most part, the way that this community is ran is on the precedence that you give and you help each other and you partner up. You don't see that outside of this. People don't partner up. They're just like, oh no, I gotta have it for myself. I'm gonna do my own thing, and they do their own thing. But this is all about partnering, and I can't do everything. And I know that. I can, but it's that much more taxing. So if you're gifted in something else that I'm not gifted in, why not collaborate and bring those giftings together? And instead of me doing one property by myself, now I've done 10 with 10 other people, type of thing. And to me, that just resonated so well with me, because I really believe in collaborating. I believe in that two heads are better than one, and that I'd much rather own 10% of 100 properties or businesses even than 100% of one, because it gives you knowledge you wouldn't normally have by just working with other people and being a part of other people's businesses or deals. And I know some people get frustrated because it's a matter of the way that this particular community runs is such a tight knit, the way that we all choose to learn and guide and give, that you work it out. Yeah. It's not about let's beat the other person. So that's kind of how I got involved in the community with Pace, and it's been so just you're not alone, and it's nice.
Don't you find you have more momentum too? I could never be doing 4 deals at once. Now I'm able to do 4 deals.
Because you can call anybody up at any given time, say, hey, I'm struggling with this. I need this. What do you suggest?
Yeah.
What did you do when you ran into something like this? Hey, I need this, and it's a whole different ball.
Yeah. Yeah. What we paid for this mentorship,
building within us. Now it's another group within a group that we're building, that we can all pull on each other and feed on each other and be able to see, what are you doing? Well, I'm doing this differently, and I'm doing that differently, because there's so many layers to real estate investing, and so many options, and so many things that you can plug into and be a part of. Yeah. And picking and choosing and knowing where to go can be kind of debilitating sometimes. And when you're around a group like this, it really gives you that power behind you wouldn't maybe normally have.
I agree. And we've joined another mentorship, and it was 5 times the cost of this.
Yeah.
It had not near what this community gives. Pace has just done such an amazing job, and I'm just so blessed to have all you ladies, and now we're friends in the business. I feel like it's family. Working with family members. It's just different than anything I've ever seen.
Yeah. Special community. Yeah.
Well, I think they're a special group too. It's not just Pace, it's Pace and Jamil and Rahima and Josiah and Jerry. Yeah, and they all collaborate and work together, and they just modeled that for the rest of us. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And I think that I love that is your thing, you know, the reason for joining and whatnot. Monique, that's just beautiful. I agree. I couldn't agree more. I will say this, it is 8 o'clock.
Oh, yes.
It went by, and we were like, "How are we going to talk for an hour?" But that was by.
I told you, just fun.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, hey, why don't we each just say something we want to do for ourselves next week, and just hold ourselves accountable to do something for you, not for your business, not for anybody else, but for each one of ourselves that we should do, that we can just share next week and see that we all did it. If getting your nails done, Angie, I know that's not going to be yours because you do.
I get them done Monday.
I just got mine, so I'm good for another couple weeks.
And
one thing that you're going to do for yourself this week.
Who did you ask?
You, Doctor. You're right. You go first.
Oh, me? Yeah. Well, I did start going to the gym today, so I can't.
Yeah.
Now, but can I for next week?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the gym how many times this week? Twice, 3 times, 5 times? See?
Yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times this week.
All right. We'll hold you to it 3 times.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. Kate, what are you doing this week for yourself?
I want to take some time out and go surfing. It's been a little while. And a little piece of my soul dies every day I don't get to go.
That's
I
fun.
love that. Yeah.
That's fun.
Actually, Monique, I'm coming to Seattle for, unfortunately, Robin, her husband passed away. And so I am going to go to Lou's funeral.
Aw.
I'll be out there. So
Next
we
week?
can go to lunch. Next 10th and 11th and 12th.
Oh, yeah. I would love that. That would be amazing. Let's do that. What part of Seattle are you going to be in? Like downtown or?
She's Tacoma. Isn't she Tacoma area?
I think she is.
I think she's down
it's
south.
not Tacoma, but it's
around there, right?
I'll tell you. Puyallup?
Puyallup. Can't say it unless you live here. Puyallup.
Yeah.
It's an Indian name.
Yeah.
That's really close
That's
to
where
me.
we're staying. The Hampton in Puyallup or whatever.
Puyallup. Puyallup. Do the Puyallup.
Yeah,
That's it.
Puyallup. Puyallup.
Puyallup.
Awesome. So what's one thing you're going to do for yourself?
I'm going to meditate every day.
Good for you.
I love it. Love it.
And then we got Monique and Sharon still.
Yep. Monique, what are you going to do for yourself this week?
So it's kind of for myself, but kind of not. So I have my grandson's birthday is coming up this week, and I usually take them out to a nice dinner. So the nice dinner is actually something I enjoy doing too. So I get to do that, and then since it's actually not really for me, but it kind of is, I'm also going to work on my meditation with my brain tap.
Okay, you can do like 5 things for yourself if you wanted it.
That's right.
Right.
Okay.
As women, we don't usually do that for ourselves because we're so busy taking care of everybody else. So
Right.
And then we got Sharon. What are you going to do?
Exactly. So for me, I have a very hard time protecting my time. Like I love giving and talking and being around people, and I have come to the conclusion lately that I need to. I need to protect my time more fiercely. So on Sundays, I plan on shutting my phone off, and that's it. Not being accessible. Anyway, looks like the stream cut off because it's past time. So knocked all my ladies out. I'm going to go ahead and end. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I saw y'all in the chat. I am new at this, so I have no earthly idea just yet how to be able to bring up comments and interact with y'all. But I did see you guys, and thank y'all for coming.